Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Wildermuth with Servion. We're going to go ahead and get started. On behalf of NICE, CX1, Atos, and Servion, we thank you for participating in today's Lunch and Learn. We're really excited about the topic that we're going to talk about today around digital interactions and how do you personalize them. We hope to keep the session very interactive, so you'll have the ability to post questions within the chat. And then we also have reserved 15 minutes at the end of the session for Q&A. So with that being said, let's jump into the topic, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Laurent.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laurent Filodenko. I'm the CEO of Servion. Next slide, Rusty, please. Yeah, next. So if you don't know Servion, so we are a systems integrator operating worldwide and specializing in contact centers and customer experience. We've been in business for about 25 years. All we do is contact centers that we architect, specify, design, develop, deploy, and manage on an ongoing basis. And at any point in time, we have about 200 active customers. We have a staff of about 800 people who do this, day in and day out over the globe. We have people on all continents, and so ability to serve customers which are either local and small or large and very global. From a technology point of view, we cover quite a bit of breadth, if you will, in contact centers. So not only from the voice, the SED and digital channels and IVR and workforce management, workforce optimization, but also platforms from different vendors. And as we all know, COVID has changed the game, and it's all about cloud and AI. So, we can move contact centers, and we do this, every single day, in fact, from whatever exists on premise to cloud solutions. And obviously today we'll talk about CX1. Next. So, the reason we exist is to, like I said, deliver services along the life cycle. So we start by designing, then we build, and then we run and optimize. And as technologies become more intelligent, the run and optimize becomes more important as well, because it's not just about deploying and forgetting about it. You need to evolve the solution constantly. And we'll talk about that later, but when you personalize and you use AI models, you absolutely need to keep refining them. What do we deliver? We deliver more revenue generation because we improve, sales service. Customer service improvement is the second thing that our customers are looking for. And everybody wants to become more agile and to operate at lower cost. So these are really the three things that our customers tell us that they want to achieve, and we always keep that lens in place, for our engagements. Yeah, technology matters. It is critically important, but it has to serve business objectives. And when we engage with our customers, we always make sure that we are clear on what is it that we want to achieve, and as importantly, that we track those objectives all along the project life cycle. So today we'll talk about digital transformation and personalization. So what does this mean? It means that, as we have discussed already, the core of what's happening today is the transition to the cloud. But you don't want to transition just to have like-for-like experiences. You want to transition to augment those experiences, make them more relevant, more profitable along the three dimensions I mentioned before. And so what does that mean? It means if I'm going to move to the cloud and I'm going to deploy more channels, I'm going to deploy virtual assistants, I'm going to really think about how can I contextualize, personalize the interactions? How can I have conversational engagement across channels, whether it's mobile or social or voice or text, etc. I want to be assisted, and I want the context to be my context when I'm a customer and I call. So I don't want to have to repeat who I am, what I have done. I assume that the customer has done, the contact center agent knows that, and they know what I'm calling about. I don't have to repeat myself. I've been in contact center long enough to know that we've been saying this for a while. But what I would say is, technologies today are so powerful that a lot of those things that we've talked about, for years and years and years become really feasible. And we'll see in Rusty's presentation how you do that. And the very important thing is, as a customer, I want to be heard. So the voice of the customer is interesting part of a modern platform. And customer journey analytics, it's what it's all about. Know your customer, understand what they are doing, what they want, what they need, and take it from there. And so we'll spend a lot of time in this session talking about those concepts. Next. So who are we on this call? So, CX1, NICE CX1, as you probably know already, it is a core technology, cloud, intelligence, contact center, and a lot of the applications that Rusty will describe. At Servion, we provide the contact center services. And Atos, it's one of the largest enterprise integration and process migration companies in the world. Atos, as Jen and will explain, is completely able to take those contact center services and that technology and put that in context of a broader enterprise transformation. So the point is, we have all the skills around the table today to deliver an end-to-end experience and really work from core technology migration to enterprise transformation and build the whole package and project for you, and as importantly, deliver it to you. So that is what I wanted, very quickly to position about who we are today and why we are having that session with you. And thank you again for attending. And without further ado, Rusty, the floor is yours to explain what you are doing at CX1.
Perfect. Thanks, Laurent. Really appreciate the introduction. And I'm very excited to be able to be here with you and with Servion to be able to talk about what NICE inContact can bring to market and what companies like NICE inContact and Atos can do to help you to get where you want to be from a technological standpoint and from a business operations standpoint. And from our side, we really focus on the core contact center technology that helps enable you to transition contact centers to where you want them to be. And companies like Servion help you get there. Atos helps you get there. And so we just want to kind of make it really clear and help you understand what's available so you can plan. And so just to introduce me, so I'm the VP of Revenue Generation at NICE. I've been at NICE for over 10 years. I love contact center technology, love contact centers. It's what I've been doing. I get passionate about it, get excited about it, because I really think that what we can do can really make a difference in the economy, can make a difference for our companies. And so it's kind of an exciting thing that I like to get into. And so to cover off on this, first we want to talk about a couple of things. First is some of the trends we're seeing, and then we're going to talk a lot, as Laurent said, about digital transformation and contact center personalization and making it easier for us to relate to our consumers and to help them. So some of the trends that we're seeing in contact center that are really starting to take hold, that we're trying to get ahead of from a technological standpoint to empower you to take control of in the contact center, are some of these things. First is customer personalization, where consumers really want to communicate with their vendors and have human connections. They want to talk to them like they're people. They want to interact with you as a contact center like they would interact with a colleague. And so this customer personalization, that's a big trend that's happening in contact center. And the second is digital. So it's the move, especially this generational shift from just voice interactions more toward digital interactions. Been talking about it for years, as Laurent said, but it's something that is actually starting to become more and more real, particularly with what happened with COVID. The next trend we're seeing is around workforce. It's getting tougher and tougher to hire people. It's tougher and tougher to prevent attrition and to get them where we want them to be from a workforce standpoint. And the workforce transition, they're becoming almost like consumers. You almost have to give them a worker experience like you would you have to focus almost as much as that as you do on a customer experience. And we've seen that trend developing. We're also seeing a very big shift to the cloud technology. We know that there's a lot of movement in the cloud, but it's not just because applications in the cloud are, more secure or scalable or just those things. It's also about flexibility. So empowering contact center leaders to be able to make changes and to be able to execute against some of the bigger goals. So it's not so much about just, I love the cloud because I love the cloud. It's more about the flexibility and ability to execute objectives. And then also AI-powered self-service is becoming a big thing. And that's conversational AI technology that allows consumers to interact with technology, and then have AI technology that's assisting agents and supervisors to identify trends and patterns. So those are some of the things that we're seeing that we're trying to get ahead of and provide great solutions and technology for you. And a couple we want to focus on are the digital side and customer personalization in this webinar. In other webinars, we can talk about some of these other aspects, which I think are very important. But we'll talk a little bit about digital and customer personalization. So digital trends and what's happening. This is some very interesting data. So when you look at it this way, this is broken down by digital popularity by age group. And I'm going to go in reverse order. So those that are over 55 years old, what we're seeing is that there's a preference to use digital channels at about 10%. So 10% of those that are over 55 years old have a preference toward using digital channels. When you go up the stack a bit, so you go to like 35 to 54-year-olds, it's about 49%. So that's pretty good adoption. When you even go up further, so those that are 25 to 34, it's 84%, and those under 25, it's 90%, that they prefer to engage in digital interactions. And customers expect that they can communicate with you as a contact center through voice, chat, email. They expect to be able to communicate through instant messaging platforms and have it a very seamless experience. And that's really what they want. So I guess the question is what can we actually do? And when you look at the consumer base, if you look at how many users of these types of applications there are, look at something like WhatsApp, 1.6 billion users. Facebook Messenger, 1.3 billion users. WeChat, there's over 26 billion text messages sent every day. And what we're seeing in this, and the point of this is how consumers communicate with one another. This is how we communicate with our colleagues in business. We communicate not just through voice, but also through digital interactions. And the demand is swelling to be able to do the same, to be able to communicate with a vendor, to kind of connect with them in that way. And through COVID, this has literally accelerated. McKinsey says it's accelerated 5 years ahead. It's accelerated because we've all learned how to use these applications more. So like this is the Atos Unified Communication Suite as an example. All of us are using these types of tools at a level that we hadn't in the past. A lot of times you'd have like all these chat capabilities and you have all these different unified communications capabilities to communicate with your colleagues. And we hadn't really used them as much. We use them some. We started getting into some instant messaging and things like that, but through COVID, it's really accelerated. Video, chats, sharing files, sharing GIFs, communicating at a level that we haven't done. It just accelerated it. And the point that we want to try to emphasize here is that your consumers, if you can put yourself in a position from a contact center perspective to enable that kind of experience with your consumers, it'll put you way ahead from a digital interaction standpoint than most contact centers can do. And so, a lot of people want to be able to communicate with a vendor like they communicate with a friend, like with Facebook Messenger. And it's a really interesting concept, but the future of interoperation and personalization really is, just being able to say, go into my unified communication system through Nice and Contact, and I can just, hey, I want to talk to my cell phone vendor, and then just click on it and start chatting and see a history and interact with them. Like this is really what we're seeing. And then being able to work in multiple channels at a time. How often are you on a cell phone and you're talking and texting at the same time, sharing information? That's a type of seamless experience that you can provide that gives you a huge advantage. And that's what we're trying to provide and enable technologically. There's a couple challenges to it, and I want to, be very cognizant of that fact, that there really are challenges associated to it. And I want to be kind of respectful to that because we've talked about this for a long time, but it's been hard to do. Primarily because if I want to add new channels in a contact center, it usually involves adding new technology. So, I've got whatever on-premise structure, I've got maybe an via ACD, and then I've got a chat application, and I've got something else. It's difficult to then say, okay, I want to add WhatsApp for my international clients. How do we do that? Well, it's not just easy. You can't just add a channel. Sometimes you have to add a whole new system that you have to implement, that you have to train people on. It's a process. Then it adds to that nest of technologies. You've already got 5, 6, 7 technologies now. So you got to add to it by pulling more things in, and it's made it very difficult. So within CX1, what we've done is built a UI that can help you add any channels you need on demand without having to restructure the way you do business. So if you add like all of these different kinds of channels, there's over 36. So if your primary go-to is phone, chat, and email, as an example, and then you want to say, okay, there's some interest coming in on Twitter communication. We want to be able to monitor what's happening on Twitter and have it routed to agents when they're not as busy. You don't have to add a new technology. It just comes in and it functions just exactly the same as the email and chat functions. Same kind of pre-programmed things, same process, same window where the information comes in. So it's just an easy add. Or if you have some WhatsApp, you want to add some instant messaging capabilities. Again, same window, same function. You're not really training agents on how to use it any differently. It's just added and it's available. So we've tried to provide a platform that has over 36 different channels. And as you're consulting with Atos, as you're consulting with Servion, you can plan out how you want to incorporate these types of channels and how to provide a great experience. And with CX1, it's just simply a matter of enabling it so you can do it. Or that's kind of that objective that we have. So as we kind of talked about this, let's take a break for a second. And I want to throw out a poll to everyone just to get perspective from the group. So I'm going to throw out a poll, which is a polling question about this. So in that polling question that I'm just throwing out here, I hope everybody can see it. So the poll is being distributed. The question is, how many channels are you utilizing in your contact center today? So think of voice as a channel, email's a channel, chat's a channel, instant messaging is a channel, maybe monitoring social media sites. In your contact center, how many channels are you monitoring? Let's give it a minute. Let some of the results populate here. I see some movement. It's good. Let's give it a few more. Everybody should vote. It's a good thing. By the way, later on, we're gonna have some statistics on your pizza consumption too. So we'll have that. Should be interesting. Okay, so it's still collecting. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna close it. So get your votes in. Here we go. All right. Everybody see those poll results? So of those that are on the phone, we've got 16% have voice-only contact centers. 53% are one to two additional channels. So voice plus maybe chat, SMS, something else. And about 32% have 3 or more, which is fantastic. It's great progress. And I can also guarantee nobody has 36, which I'm not recommending, by the way. I'm not recommending 36. What I'm saying is we just want to make sure that they're available for your business needs so you can engage when you need to. So that's interesting. That's interesting to kind of see that data point. So in moving on, we'll go ahead and hide those poll results. And let me just make sure my screen is showing. And we can go ahead and walk through a couple other points to cover. So now that we've got everybody communicating and they're contacting us in the way they want to technologically, and we're helping to make sure that our channels are available and we're communicating in the way people want us to. Now it's kind of thinking about how do we make this experience more personalized? So how do we ensure that this experience is really more of a human connection? How do we do that? And it's interesting as we kind of look kind of forward into the market, contact center personalization and be able to just interact with people on less of a formal basis and more of a personal basis really will change your competitive advantage in the contact center. So 84% of customers say that personalized experiences are key to winning their business. They just want to work with people. Personalization, we believe, also will shift $800 billion of revenue to the top 15% of companies that can really nail this. So the ones that can really control customer experience. We've seen this huge trend. We've seen contact centers making shifts of focus toward better customer experience, more personalization. But those that really do it well are going to control the market. They're going to control the loyalty because it's less about product differentiation now than it is about service differentiation and experience differentiation. So we think the top 15% of companies that do this will be the most successful. And 95% of companies today, they're not personalizing interactions with really good intelligent routing. And so what does this look like? You know, what does this mean? Like, what do customers actually want? So I think that Discover Card had a really cool set of commercials 10 years ago. I think maybe a lot of people saw them. But they had a really cool set of commercials that I think encapsulate what a customer really wants. You know, what kind of interaction would be ideal. And so I want to share a little video with the group that should kind of illustrates this, and then we can talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get it ready to go, and we'll play it for everybody.
Discover Card, how can I help you?
Oh, you're real?
You know I'm real. With our new card, we're always here to talk.
Well, that's good.
Because I don't have time for machines.
Some companies just don't appreciate the power of conversation.
Real people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm calling the land of machines.
With their robot voice.
Oh, I don't like those machines. Oh.
How can I help you?
Oh. I don't even remember.
At Discover, we treat you like you'd treat you. Talk to a real person. Get the new IT card at discover.com.
You know, and it's interesting to actually watch that and think about it from a consumer standpoint, where you have this great imagery of somebody having a very personal interaction, a very personalized interaction. And that personalized interaction is so perfectly matched that it's almost like you're talking to yourself. Like it's somebody you just relate to because it's you. And it's this interaction where you can call and you don't have to go through all these machines and you just talk to this person. It was almost, and they even have this great imagery of, it was almost so surprising to her that she forgot what she was calling about. And it's a really good image, and it was based on a lot of good market research that helped us understand that people really do just want to talk to someone they can talk to and help get their problem solved and almost build a relationship with their vendor. Because people do get emotionally invested in their vendors. They become loyal, they get excited about it, and they want to have that interaction. And so when you think about what it is that customers want, like they don't want those machines and they want these personalized experiences with somebody that clicks. So what are some ways to do that? There's lots of ways to do it. And as you're consulting with Atos and Servion and kind of going through, you know, how do we optimize this customer experience? How do we get to this nirvana? There's also some technology that can really help that a lot of people may not be aware of or know that exists, but it's actually a very interesting technology that I want to talk to you about that is just a part of what NICE can help you do. So I'll share this video with you so you can get, again, a little bit more imagery, but also just know like what's possible, and we'll talk about it.
Every day, millions of consumers dread making customer service calls. This universally disliked ritual is a necessity all endure. Interactions do not always go as planned. Clearly, this is not going well. In the end, it's as miserable as expected. But they must go on. Luckily, a new technology has emerged, encouraging contact centers to leverage the power of personality. It is called predictive behavioral routing. An improved consumer ritual begins. Sarah patiently waits on hold, not wanting to sound too upset or bothersome. The employee warmly greets Sarah. They have a friendly and pleasant interaction. Satisfaction is achieved. Phil is anxious to resolve his issue. Like a computer, he is programmed to deliver the facts, but only has scheduled 5 minutes for this call. Once connected, the employee speaks logically and with order, so they're on to the next task. Kelly's loyalty is being challenged. There is an error, and she knows she is right. The employee quickly apologizes for putting her in this position. There is commitment to make the issue right. Here, technology stages one of its greatest dramas. A connection made in the AI-driven cloud. A quirky customer quips with a willingly playful employee. How did this once detested ritual develop into a gratifying phenomenon?
It's all about advanced analytics and using personalization to match customers with employees to enhance communications.
Great communication begins with connection. Discover more about the benefits of predictive behavioral routing. Make connections smarter.
Some of you may be looking at this and thinking, is this what I think it is? Which is, are you saying that you can match people's personalities and their personality types to agents that gel with them, that have similar personality types that are complementary? And the answer to that is yes. So when this kind of concept was dreamed up, 10 years ago at Discover Card, and they had that great imagery as to how to connect you with somebody who really connects, there wasn't really technology that was available to help with that per se. But with NICE and some of the innovations we've made, this kind of technology is available, and it's really impressive, and it helps to transform personalization. And it's all about trying to make sure that we understand a customer from a personalization standpoint, we adapt the experience, and we try to proactively engage with a customer in the way that they may want. So this predictive behavioral routing, the way that it actually functions is there's literally billions of customer interactions out there, billions of calls, call recordings, interactions, digital interactions, billions. And what NICE has done is we've taken behavioral algorithms, which is how do people react? And this is particular to customer experience, because I know sometimes we have a different personality when we're calling customer experience, when we're calling a customer service team. It's about the customer experience. We've used behavioral models and AI to comb through all of that data, recognize the patterns of how people behave related to their contact information, like their phone number. How does this person interact in a customer service environment? And how do we take that behavioral database and match it to the behavioral patterns of your contact center agents, so that the right agent's connecting with the right person? So the behavioral modeling is based on some behavioral technology that they developed, not technology, but behavioral models developed at NASA, which is that some people are, from a personality style standpoint, like the way that they approach like a business situation or a customer experience situation is they're organizers, connectors, advisors, originals, doers, and dreamers. These are these categories. And each one has different personality styles and attributes. Like someone who's organized is very precise in what they want. Someone who is a connector is more about resolving coming together, resolving problems. Some people that are doers are just business. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get it done. And what that does is that styling helps us to kind of figure out when somebody's contacting customer service groups, what do they do, and how do we fit them with the right person? So what's actually happening here is in milliseconds, the NICE inContact platform in milliseconds is identifying a phone number, matching it to the behavioral database, seeing how that person typically behaves in customer experience, sending it into the contact center and connecting it with person in milliseconds, so that it actually helps to enhance that personalized experience. Now that's not the end all be all of personalization, but that's what's going on, and it works. It works. It's really interesting how people get together and they click. It's really cool. And as a part of a broader strategy to improve personalization, that's what this does. So to kind of go into personality styles, there's things you can also learn from different behaviors. Like, for example, how those on the webinar have ordered pizza. See, the pizza that you order tells us a lot about you. See, now the AI is kind of analyzing here, right? And we can infer here that most people like pepperoni because it's a go-to. It's a staple. You also have other people you might be sharing with in the house, so you may want to be the kind of sharing person. And everybody seems to like pepperoni. We can also see that the people that got the extravaganza, they're having a hard week. We know you're having a tough week, so you got the extravaganza. We see that. The cheese, you bought it for your kids. You're not really a pizza person. We understand that. You want to make sure that your kids get some. The buffalo chicken, you're a spicy person. Aggressive person. We can see this by this personality profile. And the Honolulu Hawaiian, that was one person at NICE named Nick Stocking. Congratulations on that Hawaiian. But means a very positive thinker. But we're just teasing you. But that's the breakdown on your personality profiles on pizza. So just as a kind of a summary on how the predictive behavioral routing works, when people connect and go into customer service groups, our AI systems are taking call recordings and interactions. They're analyzing patterns of behavior. That is put into a database. And so when you plug into that database to route contacts, it will look at the numbers and the people that are coming in and the associations, and when it can identify, which isn't 100% of the time, but when it can identify them as a personality type, it goes to an agent that has a complementary personality type, and identifies them with the best skill, and it helps the contact center system, the routing ACD from NICE CX1 to get it to the right person at the right time. It also helps with things like scheduling. Now, personalization, let's say. Personalization, beyond just the predictive behavioral routing, but being able to use routing systems to identify the right agents who know how to solve problems, being able to see what products they have or history that they've had, and getting them to the right people that can solve those problems, answering the phone by name, doing authentication in the IVR before you talk to them so you can just jump in and engage in the issue. Any kind of personalization that we can do to make this experience great really helps to change the game. It helps reduce effort, it helps increase resolution times, it improves customer satisfaction. Well, helps you retain revenue, because customers who are loyal to your brand and have good experiences, they refer their friends, they buy more, and they don't leave. And it can also help improve things like sales when you're connecting the right kind of people. And so that kind of strategy can help you. So NICE CX1, our part of this is we want to provide a unified suite that allows really innovative capabilities to help you control customer experience at the level you want to control it, and use it as a bold differentiator in the contact center. We want to enable you with a technology that can make it easy for you to differentiate, to become that top 15% provider, so that you can make it happen. And the technology suite that we provide just addresses what you do every day. So you know, as a contact center, in the basics, we've got to route contacts to the right people. We have to make sure those people are scheduled and that they're actually available and following their schedule. We've got to make sure they're saying the right things, they're on message. And then we've got to get feedback from our customers through survey or analytics. And we have to use that information to make change happen. So NICE just provides that, right? Contact routing technology with all the channels you need, the scheduling tools that are plugged right in. So you can take a look at what agents do I have, what agents do I need at what times with what skills, to make sure that they're there for our customers. And are they following their schedule? The QA, so be able to do screen recordings, audio recordings, to select the right kind of recordings for review, to help with coaching tools that can help train them. And then analytics and survey that can give us customer feedback. So if they take a survey through like text, chat, SMS, etc., we know what they think. If they don't take a survey, we can use analytics to determine what they think, which is really cool. And then all of that is wrapped around, and at the core is AI that helps assist through the process, helps communicate with customers in a way that makes sense to them, can have conversations with them. It's AI that can coach agents through calls, AI that can help supervisors see problems and select calls for review, AI that can help analyze consumer responses and see any kind of patterns so you can make changes happen easily, and then AI that can actually make changes to schedules, it can make changes to agent proficiencies, things like that, to make things better. So technologically, we've got the tools that help you in the best way possible. And at NICE inContact, CX1, that's our goal, enable you with those tools. And as you work with our partners, you can get incredible results. So as we work with Atos and Servion, so we can give you the technology, Servion can get it implemented and functioning the way you need to, and Atos can help you build a total strategy to get you where you need to be. Because at the end of the day, this result is great, up and to the right, NICE inContact's great technologically. We want you to put us on that piece. We want you to put us in the upright and make sure that we're delivering for you and actually delivering a great result, like we've done with Macy's and Humana and others, where we're helping them to achieve their goals, cutting costs, improving customer satisfaction. Like that's our dream, our goal. And we just want to serve you to help do it. And so that's what we have for you from a NICE CX1 standpoint. And so we can kind of go from there. So again, any questions, please feel free to put them in as we go forward. And we'll go ahead and have Jane take over and talk a little bit about what Atos can do for you.
Thank you, Rusty. I get to close us out from a slide perspective. So talking about Atos in a nutshell, you see here that we have a lot of experts worldwide, and we're in 73 countries. But also you'll notice that 29 days away is the Olympics, and we are the worldwide IT partner for the Olympics and Paralympic Games. And we've been entrusted by the International Olympic Committee for 30 years now to be able to provide the IT services. We moved all of those services to the cloud in 2018, and we've had great success with that partnership and providing not only the security and scalability, but also a smaller carbon impact of people traveling to the host city, the number of servers, and everything that goes along with that. In addition, you'll notice that over to the right, we have this verticalization of industries that we support. And all of those are provided because we have areas of expertise in each of those different verticals. And next, please. We know you've heard a lot of critical insight today, both from Servion and from NICE inContact CX1 in regards to all of the different digitalization, where you can improve, how you can lend efficiency. And really what happens to many of our clients is that they don't plan for that migration appropriately. So that transformation provides not only disruption, but also a lot of complexity. And that's what we're here to help move you in that direction and possibly shift resources. Perhaps you need some staff augmentation, and Atos can provide that as well. Next, Rusty. So we've completed quite a few transformations for clients over the years, and we've learned a lot of lessons from our clientele. And these are just a few of those to drive forward. But really, if the business drivers are not understood, the outcome cannot be measured. So typically, we've found that a business case that isn't defined, that provides the justification needed for transformation, isn't able to be realized by the corporation. And if standardization isn't a goal, then customization becomes the focal point. And what happens is you try to be everything to everyone. And typically what you're using today, that as is, it can be misunderstood. So if a configuration of a system is the only thing assessed, typically that doesn't look at everything else, like the business and process and all of the things that underlie that. So many customers push to replicate what they have instead of analyzing what's needed to transform or enhance. Next, please. So with Atos, what you can expect is really that umbrella. It's all about balance. So through consultancy, we can help you understand what technology should stay, what should be transformed. How can we optimize and provide efficiency? Where should you invest first? So all of these areas are explored and interrogated through our consultancy practice. Then from a transformation perspective, Atos can lead or assist with your transformation experience to NICE inContact CX1, using Servion for services, and then finally through that transformation, moving into that steady state and measuring that impact. You've all heard of SLA, service level agreement, but what about XLA, experience level agreement? This is a new term that's actually used to look at the overall workplace experience. Has AI been as effective as you expected it to be? What is your user care satisfaction? What has been that service journey? And has the change in adoption been effective? So the XLA and the SLA can actually be part of your umbrella agreement. And by the way, Atos and Atos are both the same company. You can use whichever pronunciation you like. It just depends on where you are in the world and how people pronounce it. And Eric, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Jane. I know we've got about 15 minutes left, so let's take a few questions, but I thought the team covered some great points on a personalization and a digital first strategy. And after Rusty's pizza picture, now I'm hungry. So thanks a lot, Rusty. But with that said, we've gotten a couple questions here into the chat. So let me just read off a first one here. My senior leadership has a mandate to move to the cloud and then also reduce call volume. So we have been looking at deploying a cloud solution. We did it a few years ago. It wasn't successful. What are some best practices for success? Maybe this is one you, Laurent, want to jump into?
Yeah, that is a great question. Like I said, it's very important to set business metrics you want to achieve. Call deflection, it's call reduction. It's a great one. I think first of all, you need to look at what is the current state, what is working, what is not working in a contact center. All contact centers have, legacy, I will say stuff, meaning IVR scripts, routing scripts, all those kind of reports, all those kind of things, and many of them actually are not necessarily used. So my recommendation is look at what you really want to achieve, look at what is really helpful for you, and don't migrate everything. Number one. Second, don't be afraid to change the process, because if you just add technology to do the same thing, you're not going to get dramatically new results. You need to change the process, and whether it is the agent desktop or whether it is call deflection strategies, it's not just a technical question, it's how you think about your customer service. Do you want people to terminate calls in the IVR? Yeah, okay, so then let's make the IVR better. Let's really sit down and see what do we do? Do we need to augment with chatbots? Do we need to augment with voice bots? Do we need to spend more time with having simplified menus? And do you want to present more transactions? So unless you have this kind of dialogue, which is really, which are the business requirements and how do they impact the technology implementation, you are limiting your options actually, because platforms like CX1 are so rich that you are unlikely to exhaust its capabilities. So it's more, what do you want to achieve? And don't be afraid to change what you are doing.
No, that's great. That's great. Another question that came in was, maybe this would be a good one for you, Rusty, is we've deployed a chatbot solution in the past. We need to personalize that digital solution. Do you have any recommendations on how to do that?
Yeah, I think whenever you look at something like a chatbot or any kind of conversational AI, I think it's important to think through, where do we want to place it, right? Which number one is placement. So anytime that somebody's trying to solve a customer service issue, the first thing that they will typically do is they'll actually go to Google. And so when they go to Google and they're actually searching for a solution, being able to expose as much knowledge data as possible to the market through Google, and then also place bots and assistants on your site that can help is a great way to do it, especially when they're trying to search for a problem and then they can see the bot. And then as you go through that and you look at it, it's important to kind of create like a hierarchy of what your issues are, which would be, number one is, what are the things that are very repetitive and simple? And then what are the things that are repetitive and more complex? And then what are the things or the typical issues that are just complex that need agent assistance? And then you kind of start at the bottom. The things that are the most repetitive and somewhat simple, you start by building your bot to solve those problems and to help suggest them. So in a lot of the bots, you can even put in like little menu options that say, here's some common issues, do you want to address them? And then they can click on it and it can take them to a specific page in the website and then also interact with them. But you can kind of start with simplicity. And then when you move up the stack to more of a conversational AI, they can actually handle repetitive but complex issues because they can understand what people are asking for. And so when you go to build a bot like that, you'd want to engage someone like Servion to help connect it into like Google's AI or something like that, or IBM Watson, and use that to be able to have more of a conversational engagement and solve more complex problems. But think of it as like a layer cake. Start with the simple stuff, put it in a place where people are, when they're trying to solve self-service issues, let them see it then when their mind is on that mindset, and then start interacting with the bot and solving problems, and then getting increasingly more complex over time.
No, yeah, that's great. That's great, Rusty. Thank you. Another question that came in is, digital transformation is being discussed a lot in our organization. What are some of the key reasons that you're seeing companies go through this transformation, and where to start? Maybe that would be a good one for you, Jane, with Atos's experience.
Certainly, there's a lot of different reasons to move from the transform and to transform to the cloud environment. And really, first and foremost, is the expectation of savings. So without having that legacy footprint and all of that premise work that has to be done, that's typically what people gravitate towards from a transformation perspective. But where I think the problems come in and where we've seen clients struggle is really that transformation path and what to do when, what goes first, and how can we augment but not necessarily flip a switch and move everything at once. And obviously the larger the organization, the more complexity there is. So what we've done as an organization within Atos is we've provided that umbrella assistance, if you will, to provide perhaps the legacy environment management as folks move and transform into the cloud contact center. And certainly with Servion's help, providing the implementation and the expertise there, being able to do that in a way, working collectively as a team, and being able to provide that service in a path that really provides that blueprint. And that's truly what needs to be done, because we have seen, as our lessons learned showed, we've seen many failures over the years because it hasn't been thought through or it really hasn't put that blueprint in place to make that transformation effective.
Yeah. I can just add to that, Jane. I think what we're seeing as well more and more is you don't have to do things serially as much as we used to do. You can do more things in parallel. So pick some use cases that make real sense and do some rapid prototyping, some rapid proof of concepts, however you want to call it. But basically it's, try small, fail fast. If you think something's really going to work and then it doesn't, kill it. Don't let it become a major project. If you find something is working quickly, feed it, scale it up as quickly as possible so you make the most impact. And it's much easier to do that in this environment.
No, that's a great point, John. Absolutely. And that kind of dovetails. Go ahead, Laurent. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I will add to that, techniques which have been used, for a long time on the web side of things, like A/B testing, with all the data that platforms today provide are absolutely appropriate as well. So you can do A/B testing on almost anything in the contact center with a platform like CX1 right now. And so prototyping, trying things, see what works, what doesn't, and continuously refining what you are doing. It's super important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that kind of dovetails into the next question we had is, the question is my organization has a digital first strategy. I don't really know where to start or how to begin to look at use cases and what might be the ones to be successful. I don't know, Rusty, based off of your experience, that might be a good one for you.
Yeah, I think, digital first is a great strategy, particularly if you want to try to keep costs low and kind of minimize things and give and kind of encourage your customer base to interact with you digitally in a great way. One of the ways to kind of make that successful and to try to help that work is just to ensure that you have kind of do a little bit of research and some analysis as to what types of digital channels that your customer base is going to use the most, and then helping to extend that up the stack, starting with things like chat, SMS, email. Those are very, very common. And then having that all come in the same technology, simplify your technology so they can integrate, and then start moving up through into social messaging applications and things like that. Because I think as you do any kind of a digital first strategy, the more options, the more people you can touch, the better. But you want to research, what are people using the most? What are they the most interested in? And then also the placement of those calls to action is something we want to analyze. So in getting with Servion, Atos, where are my customers at so I can get to them proactively, so I can help them feel like I'm reaching out to them almost, right? And providing these options to them and educating them on it. So as you think about that as a digital first strategy, those are some things you'd want to get some consulting on, even before you look at the technology. And then when it comes to technology, getting the right partner that can help you to extend that vision all the way out, because you're going to start small and you're going to move all the way to, world class. So you've got to make sure you've got the infrastructure to do that easily once you move.
Yep. No, that's a great point. That's a great point. And then the last question we have is, we're trying to leverage AI in the contact center. The leadership team is not convinced. How would you begin to build out a business case and ROI around that? Jane, I don't know if maybe based off your experience, you could answer that.
It's a typical ask, honestly, and digital first, as we all know, also is quite a big buzzword in the industry today. And also it's just one of those behemoth efforts. So when someone says to you, what is your justification and what do you start with, that is a big ask. And it is something that you really do need to peel back those layers. So starting with a consultancy engagement in that case we find that it's key, because then not only do those layers get peeled back, and you find out what your personas are, how you can build that use case, but you also have a justification to go along with that. Because what people find is that not only do you want to move to AI, but there are so many things tied to legacy that there are maybe some other attributes and other solutions and other software that does also have to be moved to cloud to be able to even enable AI. So what many corporations find is that they start on this journey and then they have to stop because they find that something is tied to a legacy piece that they haven't uncovered or haven't thought of. Well, that can be a very costly entry to get halfway through something and then have to completely put the brakes on to discover that you have to go back to the start. So certainly we really recommend, highly recommend that upfront work so that folks can come in and peel back those layers with you, help build those personas and understand what's going to be and provide that transformation, efficiency, productivity that you're looking for.
That's a great point. That's a
and I will add to that AI works if the right data are available. If you don't have data, you can use all the algorithms you want. You're not going to have much success. So I think it's and when you look at projects, where do they usually hit roadblocks? Is when you don't get the right data from data sources. So you have two types of data: the ones which are contained in an application like CX1 or in a system like CX1, should I say. So you have a lot of data there which are extremely super helpful, and you can run AI on that. Speech analytics and workforce management and Enlighten and this kind of things. And then you want to bring your enterprise data in the mix as well and do more intelligent customer segmentation, for example, which dovetails into routing and the like. And that is one bridge further, so to speak. But it's be pragmatic, look at use cases, make sure you have the data, and then there is a lot of very powerful stuff out there.
Absolutely. No, great point. Thank you for that, Jane and Laurent. Well, we're about at time here, so thank you again, everybody, for joining. Hopefully you found the session helpful and insightful. Want to thank again NICE, CX1, Atos, and Servion for hosting this, and hopefully everyone enjoyed the content and the pizza. And if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and then we'll be talking to you soon. Have a good rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Everybody.